Big spoilers for Peacemaker's first 3 episodes are ahead.
What am I, fighting the moth right now? I am.
Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. I am loving this show so far, and not just for the action and the great James Gunn dialogue.
I refuse to believe that.
And I refuse to believe that Pepe the Frog 89 is lying to me for no reason.
I'm also loving the character of Peacemaker. I love that he thinks he has to act like his a-hole racist dad, but instead he's discovering that he is his own man. A sensitive man, the kind of man who will bone you and then wants to karaoke to the queer boys into a dildo. We pick up in the hospital where we last saw him in the Suicide Squad post-credit scene, and where he talks to a janitor who's kind of a reverse Good Will Hunting.
Well, why do you think I'm mopping floors, bro? I went to MIT. I don't like the responsibility.
And they have a conversation about how much he hates Aquaman.
Aquaman? He's famous.
Aquaman.
No, man.
Even in the DCEU, when Aquaman looks like this, and beautiful Swedish women sing of him reverently, even then, he's still a joke. Among his personal effects, we see a postcard from Corto Maltese where the Suicide Squad was set. And look, I lost a bet. So I have to include this Easter egg from heavy spoilers.
Hello, Ryan. It is I, the British counterpart to Peacemaker, Piss Taker. Because I take peace from people, I take the peace. Do you see what I'm saying? I've got an Easter egg for you and you're absolutely gonna love it, you twat. Now through the episode we get several references to the Corto Maltese, the fictional island where most of Suicide Squad took place at. However, did you know that it's actually based on a comic book adventure storyline of the same name created by Italian writer Hugo Pratt? You prat. Well, you didn't, so you better keep listening. Now in crafting The Dark Knight Returns, legendary comic book creator Frank Miller ended up calling an island this, and it was the site of a nuclear explosion that Superman intervened at. The island was also referenced in Batman 89 when we discovered that Vicky Vale had been working there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Easter eggs. Thanks for having me on the channel, and I hope I didn't take the piss too much. Go in piss, you bastards. Go in piss.
God, I hate him. When Etta and her wife move into their hotel room, they have a conversation about the James Bond movie Octopussy.
What is an octopussy anyway? That's who Maude Adams played in the movie.
And this is laying the groundwork for an Easter egg that I'll get to later on. I love that Etta likes to dress up her dogs in little outfits.
I do not like that. Dressing up your dog is demeaning. Dogs should only wear outfits that they choose to wear themselves. For instance, today I am a little bear.
Thanks, Doug. That's a really good point. I loved his lawn decorations, including this Elvis squirrel and the militarized lawn gnome, which you can actually buy on Etsy, and I plan to, if I ever get a yard to put them in. Peacemaker's trailer is filled with cool, tiny touches and Easter eggs. First of all, he's the kind of guy who makes his home a literal tribute to America. Inside his trailer, we see lots of cassette tape holders and 8-track holders. Kids, this was a device that played music before cassettes. You can even see a few of these 8 tracks on the floor. And his house number is 1138, a reference to George Lucas's first film, THX 1138, and an Easter egg that's been in several movies since then, especially in Star Wars.
Prisoner transfer from cell block 1138.
There's also a display of superhero action figures and air hockey displayed on his wall. This all makes me think that this guy picked this design in like 1983 and he said, that's it, I'm not going any further. He even has a poster from the NRA showing that he's a major liberal who supports New Deal era organizations.
No, this is a different thing.
I know, it's a joke. There's also a DC Easter egg in the house here with the villain Eclipso on his dartboard. James Gunn and John Cena do a great job here of making Peacemaker likable by showing that he really didn't want to kill Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad.
You killed Rick Flag. Flag was right. Peacemaker. What a joke.
When he gets his assignment, he name drops Project Starfish, the mission from Suicide Squad. And he says,
As I recall, you guys aren't particularly creative with case file names. Project Starfish was a giant walking starfish.
And as we see in episode 3, the bad guys really are butterflies. He also talks about fighting Mothra, one of the monsters from the Godzilla series, who is often critical of the works of Robert Frost.
Every poem is the same stanza, same twist meaning at the end. Sometimes, Bobby, a spider is simply a spider.
Peacemaker also mentions getting a jetpack like the one he had in the comics. Then he goes to see his dad, who's flying the American flag upside down. Now, according to the US flag code, the flag should only be flown upside down in times of distress or extreme danger to life and property. Peacemaker's dad, being a nutjob racist radical, thinks America is being corrupted by the libs, so he flies it upside down. But this is contrasted by Peacemaker, who proudly displays the flag right side up in his yard, his car, his trailer, everywhere, because he loves America as it should be, not as he thinks it should be. He gets in an argument with his dad's neighbor and name drops Batman.
Batman is a superhero.
Robert Patrick does a great job playing his grizzled a-hole father. Of course, we all know him from this. And that will always be terrifying. Always. On his TV, there's an Alex Jones conspiracy type talking about aliens.
Extraterrestrial beings who want nothing other than our civilization to fail.
And it turns out, he's right. Episode 3 shows us a senator who actually is an alien, although we don't know what the alien's political ideology is.
I'm sure a lot of you are saying, I'm not going to vote for you, Smith, John. You're an alien trying to pave the way for a massive global invasion wherein I will be enslaved and eventually eaten.
His dad is not enjoying his company at all until he tells the story of Bloodsport and Ratcatcher.
His own father tortured him by locking him in a crate for 24 hours with nothing but starving rats. Right?
And this goes a long way to showing how much of a D his dad is. He only takes joy in the misery of others. But I do frickin' love that he has a super secret science chamber where he makes villain gear, like the hidden tech in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And Eagly is the best.
He's hugging me. He's hugging me.
It's not that cool. I'm better than Eagly. You want me to wear a stupid outfit? Is that it?
No, Doug, you're perfect just the way you are. Have a treat. It turns out that Etta is secretly working for her mother, Amanda Waller. Having Waller for a mom explains why she was trained to kill at an early age.
I got my Binks Federal Strategic Combat Certification at the age of 14.
And she has read Peacemaker's diary, which, curiously, has a sticker for the Wayne Foundation on it. That's Bruce Wayne's charity. But this is not the Wayne Foundation logo from the DCEU. This is what the logo looked like in the Nolan Batman movies. Later on, he talks about his hobbies and says,
You know, Hummel figurines and capital punishment and garbage pail kids and stuff.
Hummels are these little figurines which are actually crazy expensive, and Garbage Pail Kids were these trading cards from the 80s that were turned into a horrible movie.
Bring me back something rare. What? Anything, long as it's blood rare.
I would love to see James Gunn do a reboot. I loved this line.
I haven't been with anyone. I haven't been with any woman in a long time.
Implying that he got it on when he was in jail. The local team this bar supports is called the Prawns.
What's going on inside my head?
Not an Easter egg, at least not so far. I just think that's a hilarious mascot. And during sex, he lets out William Wallace's battle cry. When he's in his tidy whities, you can see the scar on his neck from the Bloodsport bullet wound. And hey, you know what? John Cena and Tidy Whitey singing hair metal into a dildo, not the weirdest thing I've seen in the past 2 years. Then the woman he just had sex with attacks him, which was kind of foreshadowed by mentioning Octopussy. Many James Bond films have a twist where 007 shags a nice lady who then tries to kill him. On to episode 2. The Argus people use the term metahuman to describe someone with superpowers, and this is the same term that's used in other DC properties like The Flash. They're headquartered in an old video store called Henenlotter Video, named after the great B-movie director Frank Henenlotter. Henenlotter directed many films with the low-budget studio Troma, where James Gunn got his start. In fact, there is a poster for Troma's first film, The First Turn On, right here. I know this because when I worked at Troma, my desk was right next to that poster. There are so many background Easter eggs in the video store, showing off real-life B-movies such as Captain Breed, Typer, Death Temptation, This One's Your Mom, Juicebringer, and Young Guns. Beard Dye is also wearing the t-shirt 3 Wolf Moon, which got so many hilarious, ironic Amazon reviews that they were turned into a song.
Spirit has a name. Some people don't.
I think episode 2 might have been my favorite episode so far because about a third of the runtime is just Peacemaker trying to get out of a building. I love heroes that are just human beings who actually get hurt when they fall. This kind of scene grounds the rest of the movie and makes us really appreciate how outmatched he's going to be when he's fighting off a legion of body snatchers. During an argument, Peacemaker name drops Harley Quinn and Batmite.
I'd be with Harley Quinn than you. I'd rather be with the Weasel than you. I'd rather be with fucking Batmite than you.
And yep, that's a real character from the comics. So Batmite exists in the same universe as this.
Do you bleed?
This is a big mistake.
They also mention Weasel, implying that they know he survived in the Suicide Squad. Then we meet Peacemaker's best friend, Vigilante. He's a murdering hero who's actually been around since the 1940s, but the first time we saw him in live action was in the Arrowverse when he was Ollie's archenemy Adrian Chase. So this husband, on his way to testify against Peacemaker, is wearing this shirt with a bunny flying with a cape. Now we actually saw Rick Flag wear a similar shirt in the Suicide Squad, where the bunny was holding a sign that read "Obstacles are opportunities" in Spanish. Now because this is a Bugs Bunny lookalike that's wearing a Superman cape, the bunny actually represents Warner Brothers Studio. And the sign is referring to James Gunn being fired from Disney, which allowed him to make Suicide Squad at Warner Brothers. They end up sending Robert Patrick to prison, where a guard name drops Arkham Asylum and Bellreeve.
I thought we sent capes over to Arkham or Bellreeve.
Arkham is the Gotham City asylum that does a terrible job rehabilitating villains, and Bellreeve is the Louisiana prison where the Suicide Squad was first recruited.
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
And it turns out that Peacemaker's dad is the KKK supervillain and Nazi piece of White Dragon, who also appears in the comics. At the start of episode 3, Peacemaker is speculating about the tiny people who might have flown around in that portable spaceship.
Monculi?
Yeah. It's plural for homunculus. It's a tiny miniature person.
Yeah. I don't like what they're up to. I don't like what they do.
And he mentions Dollman, a DC Comics supervillain.
He calls himself Dollman?
Yeah.
I loved this line.
Why do all people that think pro wrestling is real think climate change is a hoax?
Because you know this was James Gunn poking fun at John Cena's roots.
Oh, there's the real John Cena!
The villain in this third episode is Judo Master, a character who first appeared in Charlton Comics, but moved over to DC after they bought Charlton Comics in the 80s.
Name of Judo Master.
Is that guy gonna protect him from pink hearts and green clovers?
We understand he's dangerous.
He's 2 feet tall!
David Gallagher on Twitter points out that Peacemaker was also a Charlton character, and comic book writer Dan Slott caught that Charlton is the name of the county on the police cars. And the story takes place in a city called Evergreen, which did appear in DC Comics all the way back in Green Lantern number 53. And the name of the cab company, Commodore, is named after the villain in Peacemaker issue number 1.
What was he called, Kenny?
No, he was called the Commodore. Why would he be called Kenny?
I don't know, I just hear people talking about Kenny sometimes.
After Diebeard beats him up, he mimics the crane kick from Cobra Kai, which was an illegal kick that should have disqualified Daniel. So you know this whole conversation?
It's Berenstain Bears.
What?
The children's books, it's Berenstain Bears, not Berenstein Bears.
All of that is actually real, and it's an example of the Mandela effect, when a massive amount of people believe a thing that just isn't true, like that Sinbad was in a genie movie or that Nelson Mandela died.
But Nelson Mandela did die.
He did? My God, how long have I been in this video store? Well, that's all the Easter eggs that we found, but if you found any, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.